Talking about cough. What?
It's on the contract.
What kind of contract can you sign for shit like this? What, marriage?
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and today we are back with another dun mukbang. Woo! Guys, I'm so freaking excited because today I have had some wild ass cravings. I was craving Chinese food. We decided to order from the great, well actually that's questionable because neither of us have really had it, PF Chang. So here we have some honey walnut shrimp, Mongolian beef, shrimp lo mein noodles, a great wall of chocolate is what they called it on their website. No. That was not me.
A great wall of chocolate?
Yeah, it's a great wall of chocolate. So that is very political on a lot of different levels right now. And then we've got a Korean, what is this? A Korean mac and cheese, which is supposed to be rice cakes with like mac and cheese flavorings. We've got some Chinese ribs.
They say it's Korean?
Yeah, they also have kimchi fries and they have something called banana spring rolls and I'm kind of excited to try that. I just had really weird cravings today and I'm so excited because yesterday was the first. Today is the first official Spooktober, October, MUKBANG. Sorry. It's about to be a scary month filled with scary stories, scary urban legends. But before we get into all of that, you know what's scary? Sitting in traffic is scary. Waiting at a pharmacy is scary. Today's video is sponsored by Simple Health. If you guys have never heard of Simple Health, I'm gonna link them in the description because honestly, a life-changing service. They're an affordable online birth control service because this is how it works. Back in the day, during the Stone Ages, you would have to drive to your doctor's office, wait in the waiting room, drive to the pharmacy, pick up your birth control, and you would have to remember to drive to that pharmacy every single month. But Simple Health makes it super easy. How do they do it, you ask? I love that I'm also my audience. Can you be my audience? Can you do it?
Do what?
How do they do it?
How do they do it?
All you guys have to do is click the link in my description and fill out your health profile. Now with that health profile, there's going to be a licensed OBGYN or physician that takes a look at it, asks you some lifestyle questions, and they're going to find the perfect match for you because there's over 100 different brands of birth control at Simple Health. They have the patch, the ring, the pill, and they work differently for every single person. After that, you don't have to go take it to a pharmacy. They actually prescribe it to you and they'll ship it to you every single month with free shipping, and it's super confidential because if you guys live with roommates or you still live at home with your family and you don't want them to know, you don't have to. It's super stealthy, okay?
What's stealthy?
Like stealth mode, hiding.
You got big vocabulary today, huh?
It's actually a gaming word. It's like stealth mode, incognito mode.
Yeah.
That's when you try and watch some other websites that aren't YouTube. We're getting distracted, okay? So they ship it to you every single month and it's super affordable because none of this should be a luxury. So if you guys have health insurance, Simple Health accepts most health insurances and it's a lot of the times completely free of charge. And if you don't have health insurance, which a lot of people don't, it starts at $15 a month. Make sure to click the link in my description because you also get a free consultation with that link. Thank you Simple Health for sponsoring today's Chinese cravings, but also like great wall of chocolate cake. Let's just get started. Gonna get started with this honey shrimp.
I'm gonna start with this really
expensive ass Mongolian beef. So this I think was $20. This was also $20.
So I nicknamed PF Chang.
PF Kaching.
Listen.
Okay. It's not bad. Try it. Actually very, very, very tender.
I'm on Simple Health, so I have no use for your dad jokes here. It's really good, you said? Sorry. What? What's that face? Okay, let's try the Mongolian beef.
Very tender.
Not the piece I got.
Yeah? Is PF Chang big? Is it a national chain?
Look at the rice.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, they have it here. Rice. Okay, so the honey walnut shrimp is good. It's super chewy though.
I would call these medium.
Really? What kind of shrimps you eat?
Let me tell you. Lo mein's good.
Wow.
The most basic thing.
The lo mein made up for all of it. Woo! That is so good. Okay, let's try these spare ribs. I got these for him because he's obsessed with ribs. How are they? Whoa.
Like a 6 or 7. It's decent, but
This was an expensive meal. I don't even think I spent this much for like, okay, that's a lie. For seafood boils. Yeah, that's a lie. No, but this is insane for like takeout food,
How
no?
much?
It was like over $100.
see, PF ka-ching.
And surprisingly not a lot of food. So I wanted variety, and so I got excited because I was like, oh yeah, like we're gonna have leftovers for weeks. That's disgusting. For a couple days, right? No, I don't know.
Rice cake balls.
Not. So I'm gonna get started in today's Spooktober story, okay? This one's really creepy because I feel like this is where all of my roots came from when it comes to Spooktober. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I really can't pinpoint when I lost my marbles. But I will say that I think I really started delving deep into like the eras of like true crime, into spooky stories, into urban legends, after I discovered a beautiful thing by the name of Reddit. And so I kind of wanted to pay homage to Reddit and just go back to a traditional Reddit spooky story that's unsolved. Nobody knows if it happened or not, but it's very, very creepy.
So it's one of those no sleep thing?
But it's not a no sleep. It wasn't in the no sleep thread. So if you guys don't know the no sleep thread, they're all like fictional scary stories that are very up in the air. But the whole idea of no sleep is that you never treat it like it's a fake story. So in the comments, you can't debunk the story because
Seriously?
that takes away from the fun of the fiction. So when they post a story and you're like, wait, how does it make sense? But like your phone was off now, you know? Or like, how did you get service? Like you can't do that.
So you say something, literally I saw a guy with a cow head but with a dragon body just sneak into my window.
And then people will give you theories.
Section, oh my god. I
Me
think
too.
it's a mad scientist. So everybody acts like this is real.
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of fun.
Because it's supposed to be the experience, you know?
And will the author interact?
And they'll do updated posts. But
Okay.
today, it's not one of those.
I get
Today
it.
was posted on a thread that's supposed to be a completely true thread. Which
Okay.
means the mods do a big job on trying to verify stories, right? But sometimes it can be difficult because a lot of the times people want to make anonymous accounts. For this entire story, for this entire saga to make sense, if you're not a Redditor, I need to explain a couple things to you.
So this is banana.
Oh, you gotta get the ice cream, boo-boo. This spring roll has a banana in it.
Actually really good.
Yeah.
Holy moly, that was good. This might be the best thing on the menu.
Wow. Oh my god.
This is really good.
Wow.
It's definitely not Chinese, but it's really good.
This is so good.
Good stuff. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get into the story. Here's the crazy interesting thing about Reddit, and I didn't even notice that this was so cool until I started really delving into the platform. Main difference, I would say, like versus YouTube and other platforms, is that let's say you find a Redditor. Let's say you're very interested in what they have to say about anything, and let's say they just commented on a post. So the way that it works is someone will post a question or a thing or a video, right? And people will respond, and you can respond to those responses. Most interesting thing is you can actually click on the username of anybody that comments, and on Reddit you cannot make your Reddit account private. So that means if I click your username, I can see every single comment you have ever made, every single post you have ever made. For the first reason, I think it's a really good way of showing a stream of thought or stream of consciousness, you know, to see how people jump from different topics to topics. In a perfect world, it would work something like, my boyfriend cheated on me, and then maybe they comment on the next one, which is, you know, looking for a couples therapist, you know, has anyone tried it? Has it worked? worked, etc., right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't work as perfectly and as like bow tied as I'm explaining, because a lot of the times people will just read things and not comment, etc.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, it also helps to debunk liars on Reddit. So there was this one, I don't know if they're a kid or not, but there was this one post of a guy who was like, you know, I think that it was on the subreddit, get it off my chest or off my chest, which is a lot of people who just want to like say something, you know, just to say something, you know, so no one can say like things like, good story, bro, okay? And they had posted like, you know, it's been 3 years since my divorce and my wife cheated on me, took all my money, took all my kids, etc., right? Posted this and everyone was like, oh my God, congratulations, good work. Like, you know, it must have been so hard, but you made it through. Like, divorces are messy, but you're feeling like you again, congratulations. And then someone had clicked on his account and he had commented on a different thread saying he's 17.
What? So he's just saying bullshit?
Yeah, so they got debunked.
I mean, what's the point? Well, he could have just used a different account, no? But he didn't think of it.
It's very interesting to see like how you can delve into the psyche of someone by their Reddit account.
Yeah.
And it also causes for a lot of mystery, especially in this case. Wow, this cake is so
How's
good.
the Great Wall of Chocolate?
You were gonna say China, I heard it. It was the Great Wall of China. I'm like, it's very chocolatey.
How's the Great Wall of Chocolate? Very China.
This all starts what's called a throwaway account. Now on YouTube, you don't necessarily need a throwaway account because you can comment on other people's and no one will really know that it's you, right? But because Redditors' accounts are public and they can see all of the threads, anything they've ever posted, any other subreddits that they post and, you know, frequently are visiting, you can see their stream of consciousness. So that created the throwaway account where people would literally make a Reddit account just to post one thing. And usually it's a confession, something they want to get off their chest, a crazy story, or sometimes it's something in a very popular subreddit called legal advice. We're gonna call this guy Tom because his account name doesn't have a name. It's literally like throwaway 18 and then like a stream of numbers.
They write throwaway?
So there's really nothing that could bring back whoever this could belong to. And they posted one message at first. They created this account and in January of 2017, they posted one message. It was in the subreddit Confessions, which is followed by over 1 million people. People go there to post just confessions, things that they have been holding in for some time. It's a very intimate thing.
Okay.
And so one of like the, I don't know if this contributed to Reddit's big success because there's so much success with that platform, but there's a lot of like threads that are like, confess your deepest, darkest secret that could ruin your family life if someone found out.
And what do
And
people
it's just
even...
insane, like they're cheating on the brother-in-law, the sister-in-law, you know. My sister is actually my daughter, but my parents raised her.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like she had a kid super young, and so the parents were like, I'm just going to raise her, and you're going to pretend to be her older sister by 16 years or something, or like 13 years. So if my sister was a lot older than me.
Turned out your sister is your mom. But she decided to pretend that she's your sister.
Yeah, because the parents didn't want her to be known as like a young mom.
Oh, they don't want the community to know. That's kind of dark.
Lot of dark stuff, right? And so January 29th of 2017, the Redditor Tom, that we're calling him, posted on a subreddit called Confessions. Now the title of his message, right? So the way that it works is there's a lot of posts under Confessions niche, right? Their subreddit. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, okay? So subreddit is Confessions.
Yeah.
You go in there, click on it, and there's a bunch of people posting their confessions, and then you can respond to it, right? You can upvote it so it gets even more popular, and that's how Reddit posts go viral. And so he had one that was just titled, I was in a cult. And so obviously it's very intriguing. People want to be like, what do you mean? And he says, I just want to get this off my chest. I'm not here to expose anyone. I'm not here to expose any groups or ask that you guys do something to fix it. I just want to say something so that I can feel a release of emotions, because I haven't really been able to talk about this experience for the entirety of my life since it happened. And this happened, I want to say, about 3 years ago. So in our time frame, 2019, it would be about 5 years ago, okay? So like say 2014, okay? And they said that he was in college and he was enjoying his time, yet he was having a lot of mental problems. He was feeling a little bit depressed. He was feeling a little bit left out and just didn't really know. And he was just going with the ocean of the motion in college. Ocean of the motion in college, right? And so he ended up joining this group therapy. He was on medication and he really just wanted to get just versed with his feelings. So he joins this group therapy class in college, and there's a lot of kids there, and they're all kind of battling with their own, struggles and problems. And one day the lead therapist, the one that's hired by the school, stands up and says, you know what, I have a very special guest for you guys today. And so everyone's like, ooh, that's exciting. Who could it be, right? And in comes this very friendly looking man, and let's call him Bob, because that's what Tom called him. Bob the Builder walks in, and Bob is super nice to everybody. So Bob introduces himself. Hi, I'm Bob. And the first thing that Tom noticed is that Bob doesn't talk to them the way most adults do. When you're a teenager dealing with a lot of these issues, a lot of the times adults, even therapists, will talk to you in a manner that's not very adult to adult. They'll talk to you in like oh, you'll get over it. Oh, college is hard. Oh, you're still young, And so everything is just kind of like, your problems are small because you're young. But Bob came in and he was super energetic, super positive, super outgoing, friendly, but he also spoke to everyone with a high level of respect. It felt very endearing. And so Tom was very interested in what Bob had to say. It was the first time he felt comfortable around someone like this. And so Bob goes on to say, you know what, we actually have something very interesting going on. We decided that we were going to have a summer rehabilitation program, which means that you guys can all come to our campsite in the summer for 5 weeks. It'll be like a broad summer, and we do a lot of activities.
What?
I'm just kidding. Activities, right? They do a lot of summer camp activities, and this will grow team bonding. This will help everybody become closer, and you can also make friends. But on top of that, we're going to have like group therapy. So it's like, you're making friends who all won't be judgmental from you because they all are experiencing the same things you're experiencing. And we'll talk about it.
Only costs $8.99.
Actually, it's free because the school is helping fund it. So you pay no money out of your pocket. So just think about it. I know it's 5 weeks. It's a big dedication. But you know what? It'll be a really good time, right?
Really?
And so that's what Bob tells everyone. Now, most of the people there, they're very dismissive. They're just like, okay, but if it's summertime and I don't have to come to school, I don't really think I want to hang out with these people. Like, I'll just be alone. It doesn't matter. A lot of them just didn't want to do it. And I don't blame them, right? But Tom was really working on just, maybe I should get myself out there. Maybe this will be good for me. And so Tom starts talking to Bob after the rest of the class leaves or the group therapy session ends. And Bob doesn't have his business card. And Tom goes, oh, well, that's fine. Why don't I give you my info and you can just reach out to me so I have your number.
Yeah.
And somehow Bob convinced him, finessed him into giving phone number, full name, and home address, and email.
But I mean, when you're in a school setting, those
With an
information,
adult?
those information are pretty.
Yeah, I'm sure you could have gotten it from the school too if you really wanted.
Yeah. Why is that such a bad idea?
I never give out.
But the Bob guy is brought in by a teacher, by a counselor, right?
Yeah. And he goes home. Now, here's something I want to tell Bob. P.F. Chang's ain't the best. Okay, sorry. And he just wants to talk to his parents about it. He sits down for dinner and he says, hey, Mom and Dad, I'm thinking this summer, why don't I go to this summer camp? This dude came in and he was telling us about it. It's completely free. The school pays for it, which is crazy because, shouldn't we take advantage of it? I'm paying tuition, And the parents at first, they were very skeptical. They were like, why is the school paying for it? How is the school paying for it? It's not even in the middle of the semester. It's literally summertime and they're paying for it? Like, we don't understand.
Yeah.
Are you sure there's no hidden fees? Are you sure it's included in your tuition? Maybe it's for people who, donate to the school. They're just very confused and a little bit perplexed on why this was sprung up all of a sudden. Just the regular questions parents would ask when all of a sudden they hear a knock on the door.
No.
And they open it up, and it's motherfucking
No.
Bob the Builder,
No,
right?
Bobby.
Trying to build rapport, trying to build a relationship. So Bob the Builder comes on in, and the parents are a little bit alarmed, like, how did you, what is going on? But I think the parents thought, like, oh, maybe he invited him over to just explain to us because we are obviously skeptical. And so Bob explains everything. This is a good experience for him to have. He's going to make friends. He's going to feel less alone and less isolated in his feelings because we have group therapy. It's just overall an amazing experience. And so the parents say, you know what? Okay, fine. I mean, it's 5 weeks. It's in the summer. He's grown now. And you guys are saying that you have a facility and multiple, like camp leaders, group leaders. So it seems like a safe environment. And he goes, okay, we just need you to sign these papers so that this is the way that we can get it reimbursed by the school. Nothing too crazy, nothing too major. And so the parents sign off and they take it away. Now, he doesn't see Bob until he gets on that coach bus. So there was a couple months left in the semester, right? And then summertime comes around, and they all gather at the school, all the ones that are going on this 5-week trip, and they gather onto a coach bus, and he sees Bob. And so he says, hello, and they get on the bus, and they start talking, and he's like, damn, it's kind of fun. Like, it's not bad. I'm getting along. Like, all of us obviously are dealing with our own mental struggles, but we're, like, making friends.
Yeah.
And so Tom is like, if this is what the bus is like it's only going to go up from here for 5 weeks. And he gets excited, and they get to this campsite, and it's this massive compound, right? And it's just in the middle of nowhere. And so he's like, this is very interesting. And so they leave all of their suitcases on the coach bus. And then the group leaders say, come on, we need to go get you checked out by the doctor first because we're going to start all of our activities today. Like, there's a lot of fun activities, but we need to make sure that you're physically okay so we don't get sued in case, you're running up and down because we're doing a rock climbing activity and you have a heart attack because you got a weak ass heart. We don't want to get sued. And so they go and meet the doctor, and the doctor does physical reports and exams on all the students, and it's pretty hefty physical. He was very detail oriented. It was a very in-depth, thorough one, and Tom was a little bit alarmed, but he just kind of chalked it up to, we will be rock climbing and like jumping around in this freaking wilderness for a month or 5 weeks straight.
About cough?
He didn't really specify, but I think it was really in-depth. And so they all go through this doctor's exam, and they all kind of meet back up where the coach bus is afterwards, and they realize that all of their suitcases have been taken off the bus. So Tom is like, y'all need to chill. It's really nothing serious. And they're like, it's probably in the rooms. Like, which rooms were we assigned? Do we have assigned rooms? Do we get to pick our rooms? I'm sure they took out all the suitcases while we were all going through our exams. And so they get to their assigned rooms, and he has roommates. When they get there, their suitcases are nowhere to be found. Group leader comes in, and there's a lot of group leaders, and they come in and they say, hey, you're not getting your suitcase, we don't think you need them, and they give them a pile of tracksuits. Now, these tracksuits are not your cool Kanye Yeezys, not three-stripe Adidas, none of that. Like, they just wear the ugliest tracksuits that they have ever seen, and they're like, why do we have to wear these ugly-ass tracksuits when we brought our own clothes that we feel comfortable in? And the group counselor was like, well, you don't want to ruin your nice clothes, do you? And we're going to be doing a lot of activities, a lot of festivities. And so they go, I mean, it's just really annoying that they won't even give it to us. Like, fine, we'll wear your tracksuit, but why can't I have my suitcase?
Exactly.
And they were like, don't worry about it. Now, on top of that, I'm going to need all of y'all's phones. And so they go, what? And imagine being in college and giving up your phone. Can't
That's
relate.
like military camp, right?
Yeah, but that's not what they signed up for. They were sold on a fun, festivities-filled summer camp.
Interesting.
So imagine all these college kids. They're like, no, we don't want to give you our phone. And Bob goes, well, it's in the contract that your parents signed, so you have to give it to us. And so they all just kind of were like, okay, whatever, this is so weird. Maybe he'll relax after a week because he's obviously just high-strung right now. Maybe he's stressed out. This is the beginning of the program. They get reimbursed by the school, so they do have a lot to lose, the program. And so they give up all the phones. And they start the days of activities. Now, the day of activity is kind of interesting. It's entertaining, nothing too crazy, but it gets weird because they all gather together during dinner time, and one of the group leaders says, do you guys mind if I pray before we eat? Now, Tom was a little bit alarmed because he's like, well, I mean, I didn't really sign up for a religious camp. There was nothing in any of the pamphlets or what Bob told me that it was going to be a religious thing. But out of respect, I'm not going to be like, nah, I don't want to do it. And they all start praying. And the group leader says, you know, keep saying the gods. You know, we just want to thank the gods for bringing us together. The gods, the gods, the gods, which is very interesting. And so he was just kind of like, I wonder what kind of religion this is. Or maybe are they doing that so they don't leave anyone out? Are they saying the gods as in whichever god you praise? Pray to that one, right? So it was just very interesting. And he says, okay, this is really weird. Now they proceed to eat dinner and they go to bed. Now the next thing happened when they were in bed, all of the roommates together at night, and they had taken off their clothes and they were just in their boxers because dudes will be dudes, and it was summertime, right? And so all of a sudden, one of the group counselors bursts in the door and says, listen, I think it's very disrespectful that you guys are sleeping in your boxers. I demand that all of you guys sleep in the tracksuit that we gave you. And the dudes are like, what do you mean, right? And then he goes, put on the tracksuit. So they all put on their tracksuits again, and when the group leader leaves, they take it out and they go back to sleep in their boxers because it's the summertime and they just like want to be free. And so it was just a very weird experience, and he goes, this is kind of getting creepy. Now the next day, he's like, maybe that one was also high-strung. Maybe everything gets a little bit more chill, but the next day, things get weird. The activities are kind of fun, but they're always overshadowed by these crazy, creepy, strict group instructors. And on top of that, there's girls and guys at this camp. It's not just one gender, but they're not allowed to talk to each other. The only time that they're allowed to talk to each other is when they're swimming in the lake.
So girls and guys cannot talk to each other?
Yeah, they won't let them talk to each other, which is weird because
then
again...
what's the point?
Again, you're talking about college kids. You're not talking about elementary schoolers or even middle schoolers, because I remember when I was in middle school and I went to like church camp during the summer, they would kind of like prevent you from mingling too much. Really? But it's like college. What do you mean, you know? Yeah. Like, do you know what goes on in frat houses? You don't even know group leader. You don't even... No. And the weirdest thing is, because they didn't want to be not fully clothed around the opposite gender when they were swimming in the lake, the counselors made them jump into the lake, girls and dudes, full tracksuit. Couldn't change into their swimsuits that they all brought for the summer.
So at this point, they're feeling a little alarmed and confused?
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy, huh? Because now they can't leave either.
Yeah. As the days pass, it actually just gets creepier and creepier. You thought this was the end, but it just gets deeper and deeper. And so they would start praying more. And honestly, they just kept saying the gods. And their verbiage got creepy in the sense it wasn't just like, let's thank the gods for the food today. Let's thank the gods for this and this. Like, you know, kind of like your more standard religious prayers. It turned into, let's thank the gods for showing us the way to the end. So it's just very creepy. Like, nobody wants to hear that. Like, I don't feel hungry after you say something like that, okay? When I don't even know you. And so he starts getting more and more creeped out, and they start replacing a lot of the fun activities with less fun ones, such as meditation, where everyone would just say, now take your time to pray to the gods. And he's like, who the hell are the gods that we're praying to? Because you never informed me what religion this even is, you know? And so it's one thing to like be forced to pray, but it's another thing when you're like, I know nothing. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's just so random. Like, I don't even know who you want me to pray to. Even if I wanted to, I don't know. And so he starts getting frustrated. They start getting more and more aggressive. And they all start saying things like, you know, after the 5 weeks is up, you can stay. And he's like, what? Like, I want to leave now. I want to leave early. And they go, you can stay. But you know what's even crazier? You can actually invite your whole family to come and live here.
Is there a lot of people living there?
Yeah, and he goes, God damn, this is creepy. And that's when he starts to realize it's a shit show, okay? And so these kids are like, some of them are drinking the Kool-Aid and some of them aren't. And Tom was not. And so Tom decides one day, I've had enough. I'm creeped out. I mean, my limit of creeped, gone. And so he decides that he's going to try to call his parents. So the first thing that he does is he approaches Bob and he says, you know, I've just been really sad. I just kind of miss my mom. And Bob is like, oh, why don't you go pray about it? I'm just kidding. I don't know what he said. Okay. And so Bob is like, well, you can't call your mom. It's part of the program. You know, we've already called all the parents and let them know that you guys are happy and healthy and you guys are acclimating well to the campsite and you guys are doing well. You know, don't worry about it. And so Bob was super stubborn on the fact that it didn't seem like he was going to budge. It didn't seem like he was going to get any sort of phone call, right? And so he's like, okay, whatever. Now the rest of the day continues, and at night, right before the dinner, they want to have a group therapy session by the campfire. And so Tom says, you know what, guys, I need to go take a leak. And so he excuses himself from the group and walks back to the building, right, by himself. And he sees an open door with a light on, and it's like a tiny little office. And he walks inside, finds a phone. It's not a cell phone, it's like a landline. He calls his mom's number, and he's like, Mom, I need you to come pick me up. And he explains what's going on, and his mom is like, oh, that's really creepy. Okay, I'm going to get your dad and we're going to come pick you up. And he goes, okay, thanks, right?
They know where he is?
Yeah, it was on the papers that they've signed, right? And so they go, okay, thanks. And he hangs up the phone and he opens the other door that's in that office. And inside is a storage space with all of their suitcases and a plastic bin with all of their phones. And so he's going through all the iPhones, trying to find his iPhone. And he finally finds it. He's like, Steve Jobs, right? And so he grabs it, puts it in his pocket. And then he goes, okay, I'm going to grab my suitcase, right? And so he's like looking through the suitcases. Oh, that's my suitcase. And as he's trying to bring down his suitcase, a group leader comes in. And he's like, oh, shit. And this group leader just gets so mad at him and is like, oh, you know, it's a sin to be proud. Which he's like, what are you talking about, right?
To be proud?
Yeah, meaning like you want to look good, like you're vain, like you're very vanity focused, like you want your clothes back so that you could feel different and special and, you know, so you could feel like a narcissist, you know? What do you think this is? Paris Fashion Week? I don't think so, right? And so he just gets mad and he drags Tom out of there back to the campsite with group therapy and in front of all of the people there, all of the college attendants, but also all the group leaders, starts telling them what Tom did. Oh, Tom is a sinner because he wants to wear his own clothes and look good. And so everybody gets mad. The group leaders, they get so visibly mad, not just at Tom, but everyone. And they go, listen, you guys know the rules, right? And they start telling them off and they say, no dinner for anyone. Go back to your rooms. And so all these college kids are like, but I'm hungry, you know? And so they go back to their rooms. Now, nobody knew at this point that Tom had taken his cell phone, right? And so Tom gets in bed, turns on his phone. His dad texted him in the middle of the night saying, hey, we're almost there, come out, right? And so he says, okay, I'm going to make a run for it. So he just grabs his phone and he just starts sprinting out the room. Now at this point, the group leaders are physically trying to grab him. So that because they think he's running away. He makes it out of their grasp and runs all the way to the car park where his parents are. And they're still coming after. Now at this point, it's almost like The Walking Dead.
Is he in the car?
Yeah, he gets into the car with the mom and the dad and they lock the door. Now at this point, it becomes The Walking Dead. It looks like all the group leaders are zombies trying to get to the humans, right? And so like the family is like, what is going on? This is creepy. And the dad is like, let me give them a piece of my mind. So the dad thinks that everything's kind of normal, right? And he gets out the car. The mom locks the door immediately. And the dad is explaining, I mean, that's my son. I'm taking him home. I don't really know what your problem is, right? And they're like, well, you signed a contract and you can't. And then he goes, but I'm gonna. And they're like, no, but you can't. We need to get him back. And they go, but that's my son. What are you talking about? You know, I'll reimburse you for his time here if the school won't do it. I don't know what your problem is. And they go, no, but we need him back. And so he goes, this is just too much. And so he opens the door, gets in the car. They lock it again before anyone is opening the door. And it's literally, he said that everybody was grabbing onto the car, like trying to get it open as it's slowly driving away, trying to make sure not to run over anyone, right? Very creepy. And they drive all the way home. And during the entire time, he tells his parents everything that's happened. And they just get so creeped out. Now, the next morning, when he's home, they're going to knock on the door.
Oh, boy. They didn't call the cops on them?
No. What is there to say?
That they're doing weird...
It's on the contract.
What kind of contract can you sign for shit like this? What, a marriage?
Give me your phone. I'm just kidding.
Hi,
Future Stephanie here. I'm editing this and I realized that my camera shut off for literally like 3 minutes of this entire video, so I'm just gonna speed through the 3 minutes. They pretty much come up to his door, they're knocking on the door saying, Tom, you gotta come back to the camp with us, and Tom and his parents are like, I don't think so, ho. And so they call the police and they get escorted off the property. But the entire summer, Tom is just so paranoid that he just can't leave the house. He doesn't even want to hang out with friends. He pretty much stays sequestered in his room inside the locked house, and he still feels like they're constantly watching him until it's the time to go back to school. So he heads over to his nearest bus station to go take the bus to the campus, and all of the group leaders, there's about 10 of them, they ambush him, and he starts calling for the neighbors to call the police, and a fight breaks out and it gets real wild, and they got arrested. And it was just very confusing because the group leader that was kind of spearheading this whole harassment thing into looking into Tom and following him around, all of the group leaders got arrested, but the main one, he ended up taking his own life when he was out on bail. And so this just was so creepy. Now you're probably thinking, okay, this is good news. That means they're no longer gonna, harass Tom. Well, Tom said these group leaders were just replaced by different group leaders, and they were still getting harassed on a daily basis. And so their family literally had to sell their house, move to a different part of town. He never ended up going back to that college, and they took up a different surname, a different last name as a family unit, and just started functioning under a different last name. And so it's very alarming, very confusing, and that was pretty much the end of the post, just saying, hey guys, just wanted to get it off my chest. I'm still scared that one day they're gonna find me, but that's just the state of my life, okay?
So he still doesn't know who they are?
I mean, he knows who they are, but he doesn't want to expose them.
But he doesn't know what group they are.
He does.
He does.
He does, but nobody else does.
He does know the name, he knows the name, the religion, all of that.
Yeah.
But he's not telling anybody.
No.
But is there any guesses on Reddit?
Yeah, we'll get into it. So people at this point, they know that this is a throwaway account, but there's a lot of different reactions. Some people are saying, okay, obviously fake. You're a lying ass hoe. This should be on No Sleep. It shouldn't be on Confessions. This is for nonfiction only. Thank you very much. Uno, dos, bits, bye, right? And the second reaction that they were getting is, man, I'm so worried. But like, which cult, And then the third reaction was, okay, I just want to find out, are you okay? What's going on? And so there's just a lot of varying results. And a lot of people were even sharing their own experiences of people being involved with groups like this, right? So the people that did reach into his little message boards, they clicked on his account and they saw that he had one other message that he had posted on a thread called the Help subreddit. And so Help subreddit kind of just helps you with Reddit, navigating Reddit, how to do what means what, etc., right? And a lot of it also has to do with other platforms. And so he had posted on there saying, how do I delete a message I posted? And
Is this before?
After.
It was after? Oh shit.
And there was only two responses. One was actually from a health bot saying, or not a bot, I think it was an actual person saying oh, this is how you do it, and then just gave a very educational answer. And then the second one was from someone who had found his confessional thing and was like, this is really creepy. I can't believe, is this a sick joke? What's going on? I'm so confused. And then he starts answering a lot of questions on that Reddit, right? And so at first it was yeah, thanks for the support, guys. Like I said, I don't want to give away too much information about where I live. I'm honestly still scared to this day, etc., And then they see all of this and he's responding, and honestly there's not just crazy responses. He didn't really give away more information. But he did clarify a couple things to the people who said that his story was fake. He said, well, first of all, the thing is that I turned off my phone before I turned it in, which is very acceptable because I would never turn on my unlocked or locked on phone, I would turn it off just to be an extra step so no one can get in. And so he was like, that's why my phone had battery, even though I was there for days, etc., And so he was kind of debunking some of these. But then a lot of people were just very confused. And then he made his last comment on that thread. And I'm going to read it to you verbatim because it's that creepy. Let me grab my phone.
February 3rd. This is not true. I was part of a therapy group that specializes in helping teenagers with mental health problems. It was not a cult. Since then, I have decided to rejoin the group. I will answer no further questions on this matter.
That was it?
Wow, that sounds fake.
Okay, so you think it's fake?
That sounds too fake.
Okay.
You think if they actually took him, they will make him write such a blunt, suspicious message?
The people are divided, right?
Okay.
So half the people think it's real. Now, let's say this story is completely 100% real. There's only 2 ways that this could have happened. If the story is real and he posted this after deleting his message, either he did rejoin the cult, right? And that is his way of responding, right? Or second, he got back into the camp and they made him, take his suitcases and, all of that shit. They took his phone and someone wrote it that wasn't him. They accessed his Reddit. The third theory is that someone hacked his Reddit account that's part of the group. And most people go with the second theory because they can't just imagine these people who literally wait outside day in, day out to hack, right? Because then they would have hacked much earlier on in the process. And then you have the opposite spectrum of people who believe he made up the story for a lot of different reasons. The first being that there was just it was all just too vague, right? And so they also believe the main thing was if you wanted to delete a message, it's very clear how you do it, right? If you're a first-time Redditor, you know how to do it. But chances are he's not a first-time Redditor because why would he name his account throwaway 1A blah 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 blah? That sounds like someone who's been on Reddit for a while. Second of all, it takes a lot more work to go into a separate subreddit that helps you navigate Reddit, ask about how to delete a message when honestly you could probably just delete it inside the thread, right? And so that was the first thing. But people have been debunking that and saying no, he probably didn't mean the thread. He probably meant a message. Because you can actually direct message people on Reddit. And they're saying he probably gave up too much information. And so he wanted to delete his message that he sent out. And so some people are like, he could have totally meant that instead of his thread. Because most people will say thread.
Okay, all right. Got it.
And then the second thing is, there's no report anywhere of a camp counselor during that time that he gave that ended up taking his life after being arrested. But people are saying, how would you know that the news would describe him as a camp counselor? It could just be, 30-year-old man, out on bail, took his own life. Or maybe it won't even make the news.
Right.
So that was kind of the justification. And the third thing is, it just all sounded very paranoid. Why would these camp counselors wait outside your house for days and days and days and days?
Aren't they busy recruiting other people?
But a lot of people rebutted. And they said that they probably weren't. They probably came the first day. And then they probably knew when school was starting and where the bus was. But because, like we had talked about, he suffered with a lot of depression and stuff and anxiety, it kind of makes you feel like someone's always watching you. And so there's part of it that could be fiction and part of it that really did happen. And so a lot of people are just very confused at what happened and what didn't happen. But let's say, just for shits and giggles, it did happen. People are like, who could this be? Why would they do this? Who is funded by a school? I've never heard of a college being like, we support this cult, you should go there, right? And so the first thing that people thought of was, this is not my thought, and I'm not saying they're a, CULT, but that's what a lot of people on Reddit thought, which was the People's Church or something like that, right? We'll get into it in a different video. That was an option, but a lot of people are saying they don't have any sort of summer rehabilitation program and they don't partner with schools, right? And then the second option was Scientology, right? And people are like, again, they don't partner with schools, especially public schools, and they don't really have a summer rehabilitation program. And also, they're known for not being free. That's like, usually the starter point that people know them for is not that it's, FREE. Those were like kind of the two main options. And then you started seeing a lot of comments saying, well, I think it's an organization called Teen Challenge, which if you Wikipedia Teen Challenge, it's a worldwide organization. Now, the reason that this is important is because they believe that this person does not reside in the States because he never called his mom, but MUM. So a lot of people thought he was living near the UK, right? Mum. Sorry, I'm saying it weird. So, it has to be something that's also in the UK. And they look up Teen Challenge, and it's a worldwide organization. It's funded by corporations and a lot of schools, and they have lengthy summer rehabilitation programs that schools will fund. And so they looked up a lot of people who had talked about Teen Challenge or had been on one, and they said that the overwhelming feedback was that it's very, very forceful. Not a lot of people had good experiences, or at least the ones that gained, traction on the internet was saying they made me wear this orange jumpsuit to dehumanize me. They took my phone. A lot of them were like tied up so that they couldn't leave for 5 weeks, and like their parents couldn't come get them, and they said it made everything so much worse, and they said that there was just so much weird stuff happening, and in the waivers that you and your parents sign, you basically give them permission to do all of this. So a lot of people were like, I bet it's that. And a lot of people, once this started gaining more traction, a lot of people who had been to a Teens Challenge camp started commenting, this sounds exactly like Teen Challenge.
Who are they praising?
We don't know. That's where it's also more controversial. On Wikipedia, they said that they're a Christian network, but then a lot of Christians are saying, no, it's not, because we literally don't want multiple gods. Like, that's one of the main fundamentals of our religion, is that we only have one God. So it seems like maybe it started as a Christian network. You know, sometimes these very extreme religions kind of circle off from bigger ones, and then they're like, oh, we want this to be different, and then they kind of form their own. Some people think it's just a business. So a lot of people said, okay, so first of all, the only reason that they're harassing you that much is because if you don't finish the 5 weeks, they don't get funded by the school for your spot. And your spot is probably very expensive.
They're sending 10 people to get paid for your spot. And then after they get arrested, they send 10 more people.
Sounds like a life insurance thing. I'm just kidding. A lot of people think it's a business thing. A lot of people think it was probably a Teens Challenge. But the reason that they're so crazy is not because they're a CULT, but it's because they're a business. What do you think? Do you think it happened?
I believed everything till the point you said the last post. That just sounds, I feel like anybody above certain age wouldn't write a message sound like they're in hostage. It is not a CULT. And,
I would.
I rejoined and
no, I would if they. Imagine this though.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say I would do this, but I can imagine a lot of people doing this. Case by case scenario. Imagine they threaten to sue you.
Okay.
Or you feel like you're in danger, or your parents make you write it. You might write it like that out of spite, because you don't want it to be too believable that everyone's like, oh, okay, then disregard everything he said. Because this is like, I'm going to write it, but I'm going to make sure nobody believes me.
But then they wouldn't approve that. They would be like, hey, can you write it not like
but
that?
Like legally, it could probably slide, you know?
You know, I would like to believe it, but just...
You're like, I would like to believe it, but I'm out.
Good story, though.
What do you mean, good story, bro? I will punch you. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts? Do you think that this is true? Have you ever heard of something like Teens Challenge? Or have you ever been to like a summer camp experience? Because I know summer camp is like one of the spookiest Spooktober topics, is going to summer camp and everybody starts getting killed off. That's what happens in the month of Halloween. That's gonna be it for today's video. And any suggestions for Spooktober? I got a crazy month planned for you guys, but in case you guys have even better suggestions than the ones that I came up with, which you probably do, leave it in the comments. Thank you. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.